the recipe off of the, well, it used to be called Borden sweetened condensed milk. I don't know what the brand is now, but the recipe was on the label and I cut it off years ago. I've been making this recipe for years, before I was married and all through my children growing up, and so it's like 30 or 40 years. They're sometimes called Hello Dollies, I think. So to get started, we need some chocolate chips. I'm making a little bit more than a recipe, so I've got a package plus a little bit that I had left over from another recipe, some graham crackers that we're going to crush into crumbs, some coconut, some sweetened condensed milk, and some butter. And I'm going to put it in a 9x13 glass pan here. So I'm putting it in at 325. So also, because I'm using a 9x13 pan, I am going to use a recipe and a half. And I just feel like that fits better. It makes a little thicker bar than just one recipe in a 9x13 pan. If you have a smaller pan, then go ahead and use that. Like a 9x11 is just perfect, or an 8x11 is just perfect. And I had one, but I broke it. So since I'm using a half more of a recipe, I am going to need 2 1/4 cups of graham cracker crumbs. And so I'm taking one sleeve here and just putting it into a Ziploc bag. And I can't remember, I know that one sleeve gives me about a cup, maybe a little bit more, of crumbs. So I'm going to do 2 sleeves, or 2 packages, and then I'll measure it once I have it in the crumbs. Now if you have a food processor, that's a perfect tool for this. If not, you have a mallet, a rolling pin, or a wine bottle. Those all work too. Not quite as fast as the food processor, but we'll get there just the same. Let's just hope there's 2 1/4 cups in there. Next I'm going to melt the butter just in the microwave. So since the recipe calls for 1 stick of butter, and since I'm doing a half more, timesing it a half time more, I'm putting a half stick more in there. This is unsalted, but I don't think it's that big a deal. If you don't have unsalted, you can just use your regular butter that you have. Okay, I'm just going to put that in the microwave for about a minute. Okay, that only took 30 seconds. I'm just going to put my graham cracker crumbs just in the baking dish here. And if there's some big chunks, you can probably just crush them with the bottom of your cup measure. So that's 2. And that's 1/4. And so that was pretty close. I mean, that was 2 sleeves, 2 1/4. I could probably just go ahead and put it in. I'm going to save it because I'm going to have some sweetened condensed milk left. And if I want to make another batch in a week, I'll just use those. So if you wanted to put this all in a bowl and mix it together, you can. But I really don't want to have another dish to wash. So I'm just going to mix it up in here. I should have sprayed the sides of this, and I think I'm going to, even though I've got the stuff in here. There's enough butter that it doesn't stick to the bottom, but when the sweetened condensed milk goes up the side, it will stick to the sides of your baking dish. So I do like to spray the baking dish, and I'd forgotten about that. I thought, well, there's enough butter in there, it's going to be fine. But the crumbs don't go up the side, and with all that sugar and the sweetened condensed milk, it really sticks to the side of the dish. So if you don't want to do this step, you certainly don't have to. I'm just going to spray the sides real quick. And then I'm just going to evenly distribute this and make a crust out of it. Just try and make it even, and then you can pack it in with your cup measure if you want, or just use a spoon, or sometimes I even just use my fingers to pack it down. But lately I'm finding that this measuring cup really works well, and since it's rounded, it gets in those rounded edges, corners there. Okay, so the butter and the graham crackers are really about the only thing that I measure in this. else is just kind of eyeballing it, which some people are okay with and some aren't. So I've got my, so the recipe just calls for 1 can, but I'm going to put 1.5 cans in. So I've opened the sweetened condensed milk, and this is a Great Value brand, and it's good and it's quite a bit cheaper. Okay, so I'm opening another can, and I'm just going to put half of that in there, just because I like how it fits the pan better. Okay, so it's probably not even quite half, but that's good. Make sure it gets, you got to be careful, because if you spread it too aggressively, you're gonna mix this with your crumbs, or they're gonna pull up and you're gonna have a horrible mess. Guess Lucy came to help. Alright, next I'm gonna open my coconut, if I can see where to open it. And this is the flakes. If you have shreds, that's fine. It'll all work. And I just do a nice layer there. And I just say that the person who thought to put the Ziploc closure on the coconut was a genius. Took them a long time to think of that. Just make sure that that is just evenly dispersed, even on your pan, and you may decide you want more coconut on there. Okay, we may be okay with just one package of these chocolate chips. The recipe says 2 cups, and that's what this says, that this is about 2 cups. So since we're doing a half times more, I don't know, that's about what I would put on there. You can put a little bit more on if you want. I guess I'll put just a little bit more on since I have it, but I would probably just leave it another half a cup, or it seems like a lot, or another cup seems like too much for me. So that looks good. And then I just kind of press it down. And you'll know you don't have enough coconut on there if your hands get all goopy with sweetened condensed milk. But see, mine are, I mean, I feel it, but they're staying dry. So I just kind of compact it down. For the top layer, you can add nuts, peanut butter, semi-sweet, butterscotch or white chocolate chips if you desire. Well, I think we've got too much chips on there, but my husband won't complain, that's for sure. So you can see the sweetened condensed milk coming up through the top there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven at 325. If you have a metal pan, use 350. So I'm going to put it in for 25 minutes or until lightly browned. This just came out of the oven. It baked for 30 minutes. I checked it at 25 and it just seemed like it needed a few more, so it went for about 31 minutes. So we're just going to let that cool. You can't cut it when it's warm or it just falls apart. But we'll wait until it cools and then cut it into squares. These have been in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, so they got a little easier to work with. And I cut them into 24 squares. And so I'm just packing some up now for my daughter and her husband. So here you have magic cookie bars. They are so delicious. I hope you try them. I'll leave the recipe for the measurements that I used in the description box. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.